Good evening, everyone. This is the Joint Committee of Public Services and Government Oversight Committee. The first item on the agenda is Pledge Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to adopt the agenda. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Support Kleinfeld.
Moved by Commissioner Song, supported by Commissioner Kleinfeld. Any discussion? Please vote.
I know it was. That was your. Was it mine? Hell yes.
Hey, we're at a meeting, you guys.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you very much. At this point, the next item is approval of the minutes. This is for both 4A and 4B. Public Services Committee dated April 13th. The Government Oversight Committee minutes dated April 7th. If I can have a motion to approve both of them.
Motion to approve 4A and B.
Motion by Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to have public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation. It's for those that wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. Second opportunity for public participation is for those that wish to speak on any other issue. Would you like to speak on something on today's agenda? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Let us know who you are. Welcome.
My name is Pamela Lideline. I live in Macomb Township. I'm speaking to support the proclamation of declaring the first Friday in June as Gun Violence Awareness Day in Macomb County. This National Gun Violence Awareness Day is also called Wear Orange Day. Wear Orange Day was initiated by friends of Hadia Pendleton, a 15-year-old honors student who was killed in Chicago a week after she and her classmates performed at President Obama's second inauguration in 2013. Orange was chosen since it is bright and a color that hunters wear to stand out so they won't be shot. My daughter, Michelle Packard, was also an innocent victim after being struck and killed by a stray bullet in Lansing on July 4th, 2012, as she and her fiancé and his 6-year-old daughter waited in a park for a fireworks display to begin. She had just completed her PhD in biosystems engineering at Michigan State University. I think of her every day, and I ask that you think of her on June 3rd by wearing orange. Gun Violence Awareness Day is about just that, bringing awareness to the number of incidents of gun violence that occur every day. Many do not even make the news. It's also about honoring the victims and survivors of gun violence. This includes families, friends, co-workers, neighbors, and others who live with the trauma of experiencing gun violence. I thank you for your support of this proclamation in 2021 and ask for the same this year. Remember to wear orange on June 3rd to honor the victims and survivors of gun violence in our county, our state, and our country. Thank you.
Thank you for coming before us. Is there anyone else that'd like to participate, public participation? Seeing no one else, public participation is closed. We're going to move on to item number 6. As you can tell, there are 18 items on my portion. So I am going to gather them all together in 3 bunches if it's okay with people. If not, let me know. So I'd like to have a motion for 6A through F.
Support Zinner.
Motion by Sabatini, support by Zinner, and we have Scott Wanigat. Is that correct? Yes. Welcome, Scott. And a lot of this, you go through as much detail as you want, but most likely it'll just be if people have questions to answer them.
Sure.
So a lot of these are fairly routine. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. First item on the agenda, requesting approval of the bid award and contract with Proline Asphalt Paving Corporation to complete the 2022 Pavement Preservation Program with the HMA program from May 12th through project completion at a total cost of $4,189,282.41. for the Department of Roads. Funding is available in the Department of Roads fiscal 2022 budget.
You can go ahead and go right through F, and if there's questions, I'll call on the commissioners.
Sure.
Thank you, Scott.
Next would be the approval of the agreement outlining the cost participation between Clinton Township and Macomb County Department of Roads for the abandonment of Belleview Drive in Clinton Township. There is no cost to the Department of Roads for this abandonment process. Third item would be the approval of the award of the bid and contract with Action Traffic Maintenance for the completion of the 2022 Guardrail Safety Program from May 13th through September 2nd at a total bid amount of $230,691.65. Funding is available in the traffic budget for the fiscal 2022. Requesting approval of the bid award and corresponding contract with PK Contracting to provide longitudinal pavement marking from May 12th through the completion for a work total cost of $587,122 for the Department of Roads. Funding is also available in the traffic budget for 2022. Requesting the award of the bid corresponding with contract with Cadillac Asphalt for the rehabilitation of Quinn Road at a total cost of $1,424,000 for the Department of Roads. Funding is available through the 2022 construction budget. And I believe this is the last one. Yep, this would be the last in the first batch. Approval of the contract between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the Department of Roads for the 23-mile road widening project from Card Road to Romeo Plank at a total estimated cost of $16,269,900. Funding is available in the 2022 construction budget.
Thank you. The county cost on the last one is only 1/10 of that, correct?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The county cost is only 1/10 of that approximately.
Correct.
The last one.
Yes.
We do have a couple people. Vice Chair Song.
Thank you, Chair. Regarding the guardrail, item C, do you know what the locations are?
There is a location attachment, I believe, provided in that packet.
I'm not sure I saw it. You know what page that would be on?
So I think it was right near the end of the attachment. I don't think it was within the contract itself. But there's roughly 30 locations, I would say. Or, I'm sorry, 24 locations.
Okay, and what are all those areas?
Would you like me to read through all of them?
Sure.
Okay. Brown Road, north of Ebling Road in Bruce Township. Romeo Plank, north of Armada Center in Armada Township. 33-mile road west of Armada Ridge in Armada Township. 32-mile road east of Mound in Washington Township. DeQuinder Road south of 31-mile in Washington. Bates Road south of 29-mile in Lenox Township. Ryan Road north of Hamlin in Shelby. Jefferson Avenue south of Sugarbush in Chesterfield. Joy Boulevard under I-94 in Harrison Township. Sugarbush and Callens in Chesterfield Township. 32-mile in Fisher in Washington Township. 32 west of Mound in Washington. 32 east of Powell in Ray. 32 west of Romeo Plank in Armada. Hartway Road north of 29-mile in Ray. Old Van Dyke north of Campground in Washington Township. 27-mile under M53 in Washington Township. 27 east of Hayes in Ray. 28 east of Indian Trail in Ray. Armada Ridge Road west of Hicks in Armada Township. Bates Road north of 29-mile in Lenox. 24-mile west of North Avenue in Macomb. Shelby Road south of 24-mile in Shelby. And Jefferson Avenue and Lance Cruz in Harrison Township.
Thank you very much. Is 27-mile, 29-mile, are those county roads?
Yes.
Okay. I thought
Yes,
they
sir.
were just the even number ones.
No, that would be usually through the cities. Through townships, the primary routes are still
Okay, got
Yep.
it, the townships.
correct.
So are these replacements or new installations?
A little bit of both. Some would be replacements of outdated or substandard guardrail. As far as I know, that's the primary. I would have to consult with our traffic department if there were any new placements, but they would, if there was a history of traffic crashes there that warranted the installment of new guardrail, that would be included in this, I would imagine, as well.
Okay. A lot of the ones that you name, if not all of them, are very much in north part of Macomb County. So I just wonder if there are any areas that you guys have looked at in the south end that might warrant having these guardrails.
Usually the guardrails are installed in areas where there's not so much of the developed area. Usually in the southern areas, there's more curb and gutter, driveways to businesses, so there's not a whole lot of the same type of hazards that you would experience as in the northern counties. Many of these are, in the northern would be, there's roadside ditches, culverts that are protected against. The general rule of thumb with guardrail is you don't want to install it if the installation of guardrail itself is going to be considered a hazard, more so than what you're protecting. So up in the northern reaches, there's more instances of the roadside ditches and culverts crossing the roads and being near the roads that would warrant them up there.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of quick questions. Abandoning a road, do we do that often?
It does happen once in a while when it's a section or an area that is in, it really serves no purpose. In this particular, there may have been area that was dedicated when there was a development initially done years ago. After time, it's no longer needed. I believe the township.
Well, in this case, the township wants to use it for a canoe launch.
Correct. Yeah.
Canoe and kayak launch.
And if, when a request like that comes in, it comes through our department and we review to make sure that there's no viable reason to keep it. And if all the departments within the roads department, right of way, traffic, engineering, kind of agree, we move forward with that request.
And then that means that the county has no more responsibility for that.
Correct. Then
What
the
used to be a
transfer of the
road.
property would be to the township in that case.
Okay, great. And then just let me say that my church is on Quinn Road. I am so happy you guys are fixing it. It's awful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. For item number F for 23 Mile Road, that project, what's the cost breakdown between the township and the county there?
So generally with federally funded projects, it's approximately 80% state and federal funds, with the remaining 20% being split with the county and the local entity. In this case, since 23 Mile is a primary route, that split is 50-50.
Okay, so they're responsible for, what, about $900,000?
Roughly the same amount that we would be.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I had brought up before about an area in Harris Township where cars would just roll down a embankment. And a citizen kept calling me about it. And said, when I talked to the MDOT guy, because went to an MDOT gentleman, and he said, we really can't do guardrails, this and that. And finally, there were some pictures I showed him of, really some serious situations. And he researched it again, and there is now a guardrail there, but there are like 7 different blinking lights at night, yellow lights, lines, all kinds of stuff, because he realized that there really was a problem. It's all statistics, of course, but there's times for guardrails. I'm glad there's some coming up, and I appreciate that as a citizen for all of our citizens at different times. And I appreciate all that work that they're going to be done, because I think sometimes we need those guardrails and different safety measures. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion and support to recommend A through F to the full board. Please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to combine items 6G through M. These are all Limestone program. If I can have a motion to recommend to full board.
So
Moved by Hall, supported by Nard. Scott, please.
Yep. Requesting the approval of the cost share agreements outlining the cost participations between Armada Township, Bruce Township, Chesterfield Township, Lennox Township, Ray Township, Richmond Township, and Washington Township for the 2022 Limestone program at varying costs as outlined. Funding is available through the Department of Roads budget. 90% of these costs, material costs, are borne by the county, with the remaining 10% being borne by the local municipalities.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Scott.
Hi.
Quick question. With the limestone programs, is it literally just laying of the limestone, or is there anything else being done to those roads?
Generally, we provide it, lay it down, and obviously grade it out, but that's usually what's necessary in those cases, and then obviously the regular maintenance if it needs to be maintained later on.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's usually under our separate maintenance program.
Seeing no, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thanks, Chair. With that program, so do the municipalities apply for that, and what's the limits?
I believe it's a standing program that we have every year. They submit locations for review of where they would like to see the limestone placed. I'd have to check with our maintenance division to see how many locations, but I believe it's roughly like 3 locations, somewhere around that. And those locations are reviewed and approved before moving forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brown.
On that point, there's 4 miles. Townships have 4 miles, and that they coordinate with the Road Commission, Department of Roads, to put that limestone down. So, just FYI. Thank you.
Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion in support to recommend full board 6G through M. Please vote.
Motion passes 11 to 0.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the subdivision reconstruction programs. I'd like to combine 6N through R. If I can have a motion to recommend full board.
So moved by Nard.
Moved by Nard, supported by Sabatini. Scott, please.
Yep. So we're requesting the approval of the cost share agreements outlining the cost participations between Macomb Township, Clinton Township, Harrison Township, Washington Township, and Shelby Township, and the amounts indicated on the documentation that you have. Between the Department of Roads, funding is available through our 2022 construction budget.
Scott, is there going to be any other subdivision reconstructions throughout the year? Is this the agenda for the entire part?
This would be for the entire year. It's an annual program. We generally,
that's what I thought I remembered.
We generally open bids right around this time of year and get started roughly in June. And then depending on the contractor's schedule, the locations, the durations vary. But it basically goes from now until the end of the season each year.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know how these subdivisions are in size related to each other. Do you have any idea what the expectation is for the Harrison Township sub, the Venice Shore sub?
Expectation is in
time limit.
I would imagine a good 2 months would be a reasonable expectation through there.
Do you have a date that you think they might start?
I don't yet.
Okay.
We haven't had our pre-construction meeting yet with the contractor, and they will usually kind of establish which areas they're going to start on first based on their.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. This reconstruction program, we've been doing this for a number of years, and I think it's a great program. I know it's capped at $500,000 per community, and if you kind of look at the numbers here, our return on investment here as far as what the county's contributing and the locals, what they have to put up, it's a good return on our money. We're expanding what we're doing as far as the reconstruction goes. So, this might be something that we discussed during budget time to possibly put some more money in this bin if communities continue to keep doing this. So, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. That's a good point, Scott. How many people applied for the 5 that were accepted?
The program is open to townships only at this point, and they usually submit upwards of, I think they're allowed up to 3 applications per season that they apply, and then we will review and select based on location and available budget.
So were there any turned down this year?
There were a couple that were applied for that did not get selected, which would then likely
Were there mitigating circumstances other than funds available?
Sometimes it just has to do with the scope of work. It might just be that, you know, in order to get the best bang for the buck, we select projects that will best fit with the budget that we have. In order to spread things out, sometimes the scope of work might be a little bit much. The townships are under the understanding, and they know that anything above and beyond what we would match up to is on them. So once they apply, they know that there is a cap to it, and if it goes beyond that, sometimes what also can prevent that from happening is if the township has to go for an SAD, the resident support a lot of times.
And I think this was addressed last year, but I can't remember. Is there a reason we're doing it for townships and not cities?
I believe the reason is that cities and villages receive their own Act 51 dollars and townships do not. So this is a program to try and help alleviate while we own and maintain the roads within those areas, they don't often receive their own funding to address those.
Makes sense. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Along the lines of what you just said, we are talking about road dollars, existing road dollars that we get, correct?
Yes.
So any money, so it's not like putting money in from the general fund. So any money that would be allotted to this would likely be taking away from some other thing that the roads department may be doing. So during budget, if we're having those discussions, we might want to know what we might be taking away from. Would that be correct? I mean, the dollars are being used.
Right. I'd have to check for sure, but what I remember being told is that because of the Act 51 legislation, there are restrictions on how much we're able to contribute and put towards what would be considered these subdivision roads. While they fall under the category of local roads by our definition, what we consider a local road is more of a collector route as opposed to a subdivision
and if
road.
that is the case, having that information at budget would be helpful, I think. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. No, I concur. If you can get that information to us the next month or two.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion to recommend full board 6N through R. Please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
At this point, that concludes the portion on public services. I'll hand the gavel over to the fine Commissioner Harold Hall.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. Wonderful job on a very lengthy agenda. I will call the Government Oversight meeting of 5/11 to order. First item on the agenda, thank you, was 7A that has been postponed due to the departmental request. They're looking for some revisions to their forms. Next item is 8A, Proclamation commemorating May 21st through 27th, 2022 as National Safe Boating Week. Motion to refer to full board.
Matuzik moves.
Support Kleinfeld.
I have a motion by Commissioner Matuzak, supported by Commissioner Kleinfeld. Would Commissioner Zinner or Kleinfeld like to speak on the proclamation?
Go ahead.
Well, that's very generous of you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. She's the one who originated it and invited me on it also. Thank you very much again. Boater safety is really very important. Some people don't always realize it. They think you get on a boat and you go for a ride and everything's fun, or you do fishing. I said this at the Township the other day. But a wave hits wrong, something happens, don't realize that there's a black cloud coming, and then you have other, just like on the road, you have other boats driving, and it is called driving toward you. And a lot of people, I mean, years ago when my husband was young, people grew up on the water. They're the ones who were generally on the water. And they knew the rules of the water. They knew be on what side of the buoy when you're coming in, going out. They knew all this stuff. They knew when someone was coming toward you, where you go. Do you go to the right? What do you do? Some people really don't know that, and you can tell when they want to stop in the middle of the water. And you know, all life is precious. You know that all life is precious, and it isn't just fun. It has to be taken very seriously. And Commissioner Kleinfeld started with this, and it's people now. A lot of people have the means and the enticement to be on the water, and they don't really have a history of being in a boat on the water. So we really want everyone to be safe, wise. If you don't know where you're going, if you need to plan your course, you need to know about the weather, you need to know about having, when we would take our children out, my husband always said, how many safety vests are on the boat? And made the kids look. He said, as you grow up, always check, never trust what anyone says to be safe. And there's just a lot of safety measures to be aware of so that we don't have anything that is untoward or worse. And we just want to have fun on the water. Commissioner Kleinfeld, it isn't my place, I'm sorry. But thank you, sir.
Thank you for doing your turn. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. I did include Commissioner Zinner because the origination of this came out of a city that we share that has shoreline. But we are not the only commissioners that have shoreline. And any commissioner that would like to add their name to this proclamation, you're welcome to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'd like to add my name to the proclamation. Thank you.
Is there any other commissioners that would like to add their name? Just raise your hand. You don't have water in Macomb Township?
Stony Creek, does that count?
Okay. Adriana, did you get that? Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Next item is 7B, a proclamation recognizing May 14th as Hmong American Day. Need a motion to refer to full board.
I'll make the motion to refer to the full board.
Support.
Commissioner Farrington, supported by Commissioner Zinner. Commissioner Zong, would you like to talk to the recognition award?
Thank you, Chair. Well, I won't take up too much time today, but just want to say thank you guys for your support. Personally, it means a lot to me, but we also have, hundreds and thousands of Hmong American residents that call Macomb County their home. So I know that they would certainly appreciate this very much so. In addition, May is AAPI Heritage Month, and so there are a lot of numerous celebrations going on, and appreciate you guys celebrating with me as well during the month of May. I will certainly be reading this proclamation tomorrow when we do have our special guests with us.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Next item is 8C, a proclamation declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Awareness Day. Need a motion to refer to full board.
So moved by Nard.
Support Matuzak.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nard, supported by Commissioner Matuzak. Chair Brown, would you like to speak to this? You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I mean, it's something that we've passed in the past, and I think it's recognition of the past victims that died of violence, and I think it's appropriate, and I'm going to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zong.
Thank you, Chair. While we're on the subject of adding names, I'd like to add my name to this proclamation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other commissioners want their names added? You got that? She's doing great over there. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say that I didn't recognize one of the ladies that came up in the elevator with me, and I'm sorry I didn't recognize her. But I have to say, as I'm sitting here with the speaker there, the orange, even during the day, is affecting my eyes. So I'm enjoying the paint just fine. And I've been raised around hunters, as I've said, so I've seen the orange during the day, the dusk especially, and at night. And I think that was a good color to remind people of how precious life is, because all life is precious. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you. So we've heard this a few times before and know it very well. I just want to applaud you for your dedication on something that was born out of senseless and reckless behavior. Every year I want to give you a hug. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 11-0.
Thank you. Next item is a proclamation recognizing July as Pastor Appreciation Month in Macomb County. Motion to refer to full board.
I'll make the motion to refer to full board.
Support Van Sickle.
I have a motion by Commissioner Farrington, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. This came about as one of the pastors who's not only a pastor of his own church, but he is also the police chaplain for East Point and Roseville, had asked me to do this, and I told him fine. So that's how it got on there, since Commissioner Kraft raised the question. Seeing no other speakers, please vote. And I will say that proclamation will be available for anybody that wants to utilize it on the board.
Motion passes 11-0.
Barb indicated she does. Okay. Next item is public participation. This is an opportunity to speak on any issues for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please.
Hi, I'm Jean Hunton, and I'm with the Wear Orange crew today. I am also the events lead for our chapter, and I wanted to invite everybody. Our Wear Orange event this year is going to be on Saturday the 4th, right at the park with the gazebo on the other side of the river. We're going to have hot dogs and orange push-ups and just a good time for people to meet different groups. We're going to have some tabling going on and just fun, get to know everybody, and take some time to think about the survivors and the victims of gun violence. So it'll be from 11 till 1 on Saturday, June 4th. And everybody's welcome. And wear orange if you come, even if it's a bandana in your pocket or your back pocket. And I think you'll have a good time with us. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do. If you're putting a flyer out on that, could you share one with the staff so we all get a copy?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under public participation? Seeing none, I'll close public participation. Next item on the agenda is commissioners' comments. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Chair. A couple months ago, I was just reminded this when it was boater safety. A couple months ago, it came up about watercraft registration fees. I forget exactly what the discussion was, so I had some research done. So I'm just going to give you a little brief part of it. Someone brought up that we're the #1 number of registered boats. That's actually incorrect. We're number 3. Oakland County has the most. Followed by Wayne and Macomb, Kent, and then Ottawa. So we have the 3rd most. As far as where the revenue goes, it's Revenue generated from the watercraft registration fees are deposited to the Michigan Waterways account, which is used to support the DNR's recreational boating program. A minimum of 49% of the revenue generated from watercraft registration fees must provide for law enforcement and education. So that's just some background to help out whatever that discussion was 2 months ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
First of all, thank you for that, because I know that that's what I was told as well, so appreciate that. I would like to thank Chair Brown for putting the 911 back on the agenda. I understand he was, he's trying to work with commissioners, and he's trying to do things that will satisfy as many commissioners as possible, and he's juggling a lot of things, and I know that he had to do that with this particular situation. And so I just wanted to let him know I appreciate it. Thank you.
I might add to that, it was also working with the Office of the Executive to try to find alternate solutions. Am I correct? That's right. Thank you. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I want to say that I am glad that the ladies in the orange came. It's always emotionally hard, but I'm glad that they bring their venue here, and we're able to be with them. Also, I read in the paper yesterday in regard of Eric Smith having another postponement for a resolution. I had notes, but I forgot to bring them. I was busy looking for my key, and maybe that is because there's something legally going on. That's very possible. And I noticed that the judge that made the decision on him recently had frozen his pension. But freezing a pension isn't stopping the pension, considering what he had done to his office, to the county government, and mostly to the citizens of Macomb County. And as I've said before, I've spoken with many citizens, or they have spoken with me, especially when I was campaigning, and I'd be around the county at different events, and how upset they were. And also the prosecutors that worked with him, and maybe they tried to stop the situation. Maybe others did or did not try to stop the situation, but they went along or followed the direction that he was leading, and partook of some of those situations. And they're still, I think there are one or two that are no longer getting their pensions, but there still are one or two, and I'm not sure of the number, that are still getting their pension. Or there are many people who are not happy with that. And we're representative of the citizens, and I think that should be taken care of. I know there's a pension board. I've seen who's on the pension board, and I think that is something that should really be thought of and cared for, and thought of, very thoughtfully. It should be something that is very important to many citizens of in our county. And those are the people who are supposed to lead in righteousness, and I just don't think it's right that. I think it's something we should really be concerned about. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. To answer your question, who sits on the pension board, I sit on all three of them. And Don Brown is chair of one, and I'm chair of one. The obligation to withhold somebody's pension is mandated in state law. Once an individual has been convicted, then the county has the option to withhold their pension. Eric Smith's pension is being fully withheld, and Derek Miller's pension is being fully withheld under court order. Now, Derek hasn't been convicted of anything yet. The judge mandated we withhold the pensions. Anybody's convicted of a felony during the course of their duties as an elected official, their pensions will be withheld. That's a mandate that we have on the board. So I hope that answered your question.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
So the other ones are not in that area yet, I imagine?
They're not in that area yet.
I like the idea of a freeze, though.
We are limited by state law, which I believe was drafted when Commissioner Farrington and I were both up there, and put that in play.
Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome. Also, I read today there was some type of settlement agreement with the Great Lakes Water Authority between Highland Park and Great Lakes Water Authority, and Brian Baker was there representing Macomb County. So I'll ask the chair if we can get him here to give us an update on that. I don't know if it was just between those two or everybody, but since we passed that resolution, it'd be great to get an update.
I spoke with the Public Works Commissioner about that, and we'll have an update.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzak.
This morning, our older adult advisory committee participated remotely with the older Michiganian, whatever it was. It was lobby day. It was lobby day in Lansing, where organizations like the Area Agency on Aging and AARP and lots of other groups came together with an agenda of items important to senior citizens. And so we're going to put a copy in all of your mailboxes because it was very interesting. It was there was a pretty startling statistic that there is a disparity. The main focus they're working on is the disparity between what we spend in public dollars to put people in nursing homes, to keep people in nursing homes, and what we spend on programs that support people aging in place. And it's a big disparity, despite the fact that most people would prefer to age in place, and it's significantly cheaper for us to help people age in place than to use public dollars to put into skilled facilities. And so they're really going to look at that. That's really the focus they're looking at. And it was very interesting. And Michigan ranks, what did she say, third from the bottom in terms of that disparity. We spend much more institutionalizing people than we do helping them stay in homes. So I want to share with you their focus and the information that they provided, the background information. And some of that is probably something that I hope will come up when we start this budget process. It's a much more efficient use of taxpayer money to help people stay in their homes and age in place than to put them in institutions. So we will share that with you. It was we had a great time in there. We did all the technology hookups so we could see the speakers and we could interact, and there were people from all over the state. It's one of the good parts about the pandemic is people have learned to use this technology. So there were a bunch of folks in a tent on the Capitol lawn, but there were more than 100 folks logged in, and some of them were like us, were groups from different counties that were logged in to watch. So it was a really interesting meeting, and we're going to share the information with you all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I did want to make one other announcement. My daughter, who's the clerk of Macomb Township, received a phone call from Senate Majority Leader Shirkey and Senator McDonald indicating my granddaughter has been selected to sing the national anthem on Patriots Day, which they hold annually up in Lansing. So we're very much looking forward to her doing that. Didn't take a lot of coaxing to get her to do it, so she's pretty good. Next item, we will move a motion to move into closed session. Nice seeing you.
Chair, we have to name this one.
We have to what? Oh yeah, that's correct. Closed session to discuss pending litigation case number 15 CV 10924 Stephen Howe versus Macomb County. Motion to move into closed session. I have a motion by Commissioner Farrington, supported by Commissioner Nart. Please vote.
Motion
Okay,
passes
buddy.
11 to 0.
This is a motion on accepting recommendation of council to full board. All in no speakers? Good. All in favor? Vote. Now we can vote. Welcome back.
Motion passes 11 to 0.
Great. Next item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Kraft, supported by Commissioner Kleinfeld. Please vote. Phil speaks up and scares. Never mind. We are adjourned.